You have a fan base.
I think it's both of us. It's us
maybe.
together again.
Maybe.
I don't know. This is about to be the blackest thing that ever existed. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yep, this is the blackest person I know.
Yeah. So how do we start? Do we pretend we're not friends?
No, that's too difficult.
Yeah.
We have to edit ourselves, maybe.
Right.
Depending.
So we've known each other for quite some time now. My wingman, my confidant.
Yeah.
Good friend of mine.
Your twin.
Yeah, twin. Yeah, sister. I've seen this movie now twice.
I know. Yeah.
And I'm happy to have my little small credit at the bottom.
You do. Yes.
Thing. I was blessed enough to, be chosen by you guys to like do some of the wardrobe in the movie, which was like a huge honor for me.
Yeah.
I think.
Had to.
I think it's a very, very, very special film because it's very complicated. I don't think anyone's gonna walk away from this with. We're still in conversation, you know, like everyone who's seen it, even from the first time when we saw it at BAM, we're still in conversation. People still have like, why that happen? Why was it like this? Or why was it like that? And I think that's the testament of like true storytelling and true art, where it's like, it's not, the feeling that you walk away from is not universal. I think that's what's like common in both of our works. And what, can you start with why you wrote this film, or how this film got to you to get to write it?
Yeah, I was at a party, and James Frey walked up to me, who I was familiar with, and he still introduced himself, and I was like, I know who you are. And he's like, yeah, I have this idea for a movie that I can't write. And I was like, okay, what's the idea? And he was like, well, a black man, a black woman on a first date, they're on their way home, they get pulled over by a police officer, things escalate, they kill the police officer in self-defense, and decide to get in the car and go. And I was like, you're right, you can't write that. You shouldn't write that. But it just, something about that seed of an idea just sort of stuck with me, and we exchanged information. He probably thought he wasn't gonna hear from me again, but I just emailed him and I was like, yo, man, I want that. I wanna do something with it. And he had an outline, he had a different title, and I was like, I don't want that. I was kind of like Tina Turner, and what's love got to do with it? I was like, I just want my name. And so I was like, that's all I need. I wanna take that and run with it. And I was like, because in fairness, I was like, I'll share like story by credit, but I was like, I wanna just write it. He's like, please, have at it. And that's really where it began. And it was also like around, I was in the middle of, or toward the end, the first season of The Chi, and I felt like I really wanted to write with no restrictions. Because that's the thing, is like when you're doing something for a network in a studio, you have to take notes and all this kind of stuff. And the reason why I often write things on spec, like I wrote on spec, is like a way of saying for free, where you write something and then you go out and try to sell it. So I wrote The Chi pilot on spec, I wrote 20s on spec, I wrote this on spec. I didn't take any money to write these things. I just wrote them.
Yeah. You had amazing production partners with this film, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually met Pam
Abdi and Brad
yeah.
Weston, who made The Revenant and like so many other films, while they were working at studios, and they decided to break off and create their own production company, and they had a distribution deal with Universal. So their thing was like, if you come make it with us, Universal will have to distribute it. But for me and Melina, it was almost like a perfect situation, because it was almost like making an independent movie, which we did, because I was like, I asked for final cut. I was like, I won't take a note from a white person. Like, I'm gonna do this thing as needed. It'll be in our native tongue. Because I do believe that black people have a broken English. I think it's a mix of Southern, city, and slavery. And I wanted to make sure that was on the page. I was like, I don't want anyone messing with the dialogue, messing with the language, and they understood it. But the thing was, I had written something that I realized was something that everybody wanted, because I went and kind of gathered my troops. Daniel kind of added himself to the wagon because he read the script early, because I was like waiting to get it to Melina, and he was like, I just want to read what you're working on. It's like, all right, I sent it to him, he read it, and like 2 days later, he hit me with an email that was like, I am Slim.
Yeah, he told me that, he kind of like bogarted his way into this.
He did.
It's like, I'm gonna do that shit to you guys.
And thank God, because I would not have thought of him. Right. I wouldn't have, not that I don't think he's a phenomenal actor, but also I don't think of actors when I'm writing, period. I'm not that kind of writer. I like to write characters, and then so that way when the audition process happens, I'm wide open. I'm like, come show me what I don't even know I need.
Yeah. I think Daniel does a great job of making you fall in love with him within like the first like 5 minutes in the
Instantly.
movie.
He is the Paul Robeson of our generation.
Yeah. We like that.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
Would you say that is it safe to say that this film was created for Black people?
It is a love letter to Black people. That's what it is.
Yeah. I think a lot of the
Welcome, whatever you need.
I think a lot of like, just like the controversy around the story is because people are concerned, Black people around us, like in our friend group, are concerned what white people are gonna think. And I was like, you might not know Lena.
Right.
Right? It's like you don't, I don't think you give a shit.
No. No.
And
No.
yeah, and that's really good. So how did you and Melina meet?
We met at a HBO Emmy after party many moons ago. And Issa had been trying to introduce us, and people actually, I think, had been trying to introduce us for a while, but Issa really was like, she was the person, I think, talking to us about each other. And then, we're at this HBO party, Black folks at the party, like, hey, we're in the building.
Yeah.
And Issa,
We always dip off.
yeah, always in the corner. Issa was like, finally, Lena, Melina. And we just met and we vibed. And she sort of didn't know what to make of me at first, because I'm like, very much can be the life of the party, and Melina likes to kind of be in the cut. So Melina was.
Except the other night. I got documented.
Premiere night,
Yeah.
that's like classic Melina. Like, just turned up, ready for the world. So she was like, what's this deal? But the real truth is I'm an introverted extrovert. And so she and I, like, actually, when we came together, that's a funny thing. We met and we vibed, and then when the Thanksgiving episode came about, obviously in the writing process on Master of None, Aziz was like, well, who should we get to direct it? And I was like, I think Aziz and I both were on the same page about it. Like, we wanted Melina, and he was already a fan of hers when I said her name, and she was like, nope, I don't like directing episodic shit. I like creating my world. I don't want to walk into someone else's. So I was cut to, and I got that word, but I was in London. I was filming Ready Player One, but I also had this script. It was like so much was going on, and I was like, I'm gonna call her. So I got her, the showrunner. I called the showrunner for Insecure, and I was like, yo, give me Melina's number. So I called her, and I was like, yo, this isn't just any episode of television. I was like, this could have the potential to be like revolutionary. I was like, a Black woman has never come out on TV before, and I think you should direct it. And she was like, all right, well, send me the script, man. Send me the script. So I did, and then she hit me and she was like, all right, I want to direct this. And she did. She came in and directed it, and that was the first time we ever worked together. And instantly, it was like we had shared a room our whole lives. We were like sisters, and it just felt like Michael and Quincy.
What did you like about Melina's work prior to having worked on the Masters of None?
Oh, what I like about her work?
Yeah.
Oh, I just love that it was so loud and fresh and amazing. It was just bold. It was different. I like the way she captured us through music videos. And that's the thing, like music videos, I really grew up on them. They were like their own genre. They told stories. And she was bringing that back in terms of what she was doing. And I think she had done Formation before Thanksgiving, which was also like a phenomenal video, and sort of took on a life of its own. It was more than a music video.
Formation was a phenomenon.
It was nuts. But that's Melina.
Yeah.
That anyone that knows Melina, it's like, of course, like that's what the video gonna be.
Every artist like that comes into my orbit, or I have to work with, or creative direct, or whatever, outside of Pierre-Mons, like I always tell them, like if your fans can't dress up as you as Halloween, then you are not a superstar.
Wow, that's good.
And I
I'm
think
gonna use that.
out the gate, Melina created imagery, but she also studied cinematography.
She did. That's what she got her major in, was cinematography.
Right.
And when you see the movie, it's very evident.
The coloring, everything is just like perfect. Like,
the thing about every frame could be like
photo.
framed and hung on someone's wall.
Right.
And we had a big thing about hiring, like we had about 4 Black different photographers to come and capture the actors, to capture us on set. That was a big thing for us. We wanted Black photographers on set, so that way we would feel very comfortable in that we were going to be behind, someone's lens would be another Black person.
Right. I think another thing that was like super cool about just this film process is like so much of our community is involved in it.
Yeah.
Like from Dapper Dan to like AWOL Arisco to you know, like
Dude,
just
he's wearing the Sean John thing, like which
yeah.
loaned us.
I mean, I remember Shiona coming to my apartment. It was like, hey, draw
Yes.
draw this this tracksuit because Melina wants the main frame to be Daniel sitting on the side of like the door open and the profile shot of this.
Yep.
So the tracksuit needs to have something.
Piping.
Yeah, piping. So that's where that came from.
Yeah.
Like Shiona like frantically doing her homework at the last minute with me.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, yeah, typical. Yeah, and she only
Yeah.
comes from the editorial world,
Yeah.
which is why I think the costumes feel so potent and so urgent, you know. And there's only like 2 costume changes. Like they don't like change a lot. So that's why we knew we were like, you got like a couple looks.
Yeah.
Make both of them iconic.
I think one of the things too that like really stood out in the movie was Bokeem Woodbine's character.
Bokeem, unsung icon.
Yeah,
Is what he is.
And I think when you guys finally gave him, not finally, but I feel like we've appreciated him a lot in just like in culture. But like I think he's now gonna get this mainstream shot. That's
Yeah, it's like
it's very amazing.
he's to me like the Miles Davis of actors.
Yeah.
You know, like because he is so like there's a frenetic energy that he has that works for him. But I think what was cool about what he does in this movie is that there's a gentleness,
Yeah.
there's a tenderness that he has. And to me, Uncle Earl, that's the thing about the movie is like they sort of represent all of us, and Uncle Earl is like that algorithm of every black uncle, of like he went to, the war fucked him up, you know what I'm saying? He got all these girls to stroke his ego. One of my favorite lines that I wrote was that when she says, out there he ain't shit, but in here he a king.
Yeah. Definitely one of my favorite scenes when he's jumping up and down. He's like, "Bitch, give me my
respect. Give him a pinky ring." It's just like that's the thing about it. It's like I started, but the actor finishes it.
Yeah.
And he really did. Like he really just showed up for us. And the character was supposed to be in New Orleans, so he went down to New Orleans early and like hung out with the people, and he had a vocal coach, and he really, really just sounds like, New Orleans is in his throat.
Right. Why did you feel like this? You said it's obviously a love letter to Black people. Why do you feel like it needs to be told now? And why do you like? What's the conviction when?
I think it was just time. It was. I believe everything is on God's schedule. And the timing of it, I was feeling angry, I was feeling rebellious, I was feeling traumatized, I was feeling voiceless.
When did you start writing this?
I started writing it maybe 2.5 years ago. Yeah, and
Tumultuous time.
yeah, and I wrote it in a period of 8 months. And then obviously just sort of whittling at it and needling at it. But it was me needing to get something off my chest, off my spirit, off my soul. But then I quickly realized, then it turned into me putting my spirit, my soul, my chest onto the page.
Right.
It was more about like, how vulnerable can I be? I wanted to lay myself bare. And the thing about it is, all of us are connected, particularly Black people. So if I lay myself bare, then I'm laying all of us bare. Because my trauma is your trauma is my trauma. We all share it. There's something in our DNA that we can't shake. And there's things that we just instinctively know about each other. So I thought, if I can be brutally honest about my shit, in this movie, then our shit will come to life.
Yeah, I could see a love of poetry in the movie. Specifically, like there's a part where it's not a spoiler, but there's a part where Daniel's on the horse, right? Like, how did you? Are there other parts that I may have missed that that you would have seen as like not like linear writing, is more of like a poetic stances?
Well, that's the thing. To me, every moment in the movie is a culmination of a conversation I've had, of an experience I've gone through, or something that I've witnessed or seen. So it's literally, the movie's also a reflection of who I am right now. Like 10, 20 years from now, I'll look back on it and go, oh, that's where I was as an artist.
Right.
That's where I was as a woman then.
It's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, it's a time capsule. But the thing about Daniel getting on the horse is a product of a conversation I had with Rick Famuyiwa. who is an amazing director. He did The Wood, dope. He's a really fantastic director, and he directed the pilot of The Chi. So he came in, and that's the thing, he directed the second pilot of The Chi. Like we reshot the pilot, you know, with the new director and a new cast. So I had been like through it. And he comes in, and he's like Black Superman. He's like, I got you. Fuck all these white execs, like, we're gonna make this show the way you wanna make it. And I was like, oh my God, thank God, this is amazing. Somebody's finally listening to me. And he said, you know what I am? He's like, I'm a black man on a horse. I was like, what? He's like, that's why all these white dudes are scared of me, because they gotta look up at me. And I just never forgot it, obviously.
Yeah.
And so that found its way into the script.
Now it all makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like little shit like that.
Makes sense.
Or even like when I was having lunch with Daniel, this was once he was already in, and like we were just kicking it. Here's the crazy thing about Daniel, like we had made this plan, I don't know, like a month in advance. You kind of have to do that with everybody's schedules. So we had this plan, and it ended up being the day after the Academy Award like nominations, and the motherfucker had been nominated. So I was like, you don't have to like you're probably crazy. And he was like, what? No, come on, let's go have pasta. So I was like, all right. So like I'm sitting there with him, and I'm like, what? I'm like, congratulations, like what's happening? He didn't even care. He's like, nah. He's like, it's not my time. I don't want to win yet. This means I'm in a different weight class. I was like, okay, fair enough. And then we just started talking, and I started talking about like Black excellence, or like wanting to be excellent, or him being excellent. And he goes, you know, my dad always says that Black excellence is a product of Black trauma. And it just sort of like, and it made me think about that. And I said, oh, yeah, I'm striving to be excellent because I want to justify the space I take up. And I don't know if that's the best thing, but it's real. But that's the thing. I always leave with something with Dan after I talk to him. And so I knew that. I was like, I got to figure out a way to put that in the script. The script was already done, and I was like, what do I do? How do I put that in there? And then finally, I was, again, whittling at it, doing a thing with that scene, a scene where they're eating, and I just saw it. Like, it just revealed itself. He asked her, are you a good lawyer? And she says, I'm an excellent lawyer. And then I said, here we go. And then I had Slim say, why do Black people always feel the need to be excellent? Why can't we just be ourselves? So that, was born out of a conversation, just talking to people.
Yeah, wow. You really insert yourself into the writing. It's like,
yeah, I mean, that's really what I have to pull from.
Yeah.
And just different, different influences, different things that I've seen and I witnessed. And you're like me, like we have very unique influences, things that affect us, things that we watch. But even like music, like listening to music, and there's like a Sam Cooke song, like A Change Is Gonna Come. There's a pattern in that song that I use to help have Slim tell a story with a similar pattern. I won't reveal it now because it'll kind of throw it. But Sam Cooke is influencing my writing. You know what I mean? Listening to him, listening to Donny Hathaway on vinyl a lot while I write. Listen to Coltrane, all that kind of stuff. It feeds me and gives me the air I need to let God in and use me as a vessel.
Yeah. Another question specific to the movie. This one's on here. The scene with Junior shooting the officer. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, what you mean, like the opening,
No, the scene with Junior.
No.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Can't talk about
like y'all,
that.
who did this? Y'all snitching.
I know. Yeah.
We can't talk about. That's why I knew. Yeah, like, see.
All
right. Yeah.
You asked me also earlier. He's like, "Can we talk about the ending?" I was like, "No."
No. Yeah. No, we can't talk about. No, we can't talk. Go see it on Thanksgiving and make sure our box numbers are good. I mean, we're booking out theaters. That's what we gotta do. That's what we gotta do for each other.
We gotta bum rush the theaters, man.
As far as like, part of my study and part of my practice is always to like leave the door open behind me, and to lend a sense of like transparency to the process. So two things, just from like a workhorse standpoint, like how much time did you have to spend on set as a writer, not a director, to make sure that your vision is executed correctly?
Bless you. I was on set every day.
Okay.
Yeah, filming something right now that I wrote that I'm on set every day for the most part. I know I'm doing promo, so I don't get to be on set as much as I would like to, but I have so much trust in this director that I'm working with. I feel good about it. But Queen and Slim, that's how me and directors work, you know, and a lot of that comes from the fact that I started in television, and in television, the writer is king. You know what I'm saying? The directors are interchangeable. In film, it's usually the other way around. Like it's almost unheard of for a writer to be on set for a feature.
Right.
But because of, which I'm very blessed in terms of my position as a writer in the industry, is that it's almost like, you know, to me, I think I'm a resource. I'm a resource. But also, I'm a producer of anything that I've written with the capital P. Like, I'm there making sure things are what it needs to be, and the director has what they need, and Melina and I both are producers on this. So she wants me, like, right by her side. That's why I think we work so well together, because she's like, is that right? Did that feel good to you? And I'm like, oh, you could pace it up a little bit more, or you could, like, have, you know, his character be a little bit softer here. Like, we really have those conversations. And she communicates that to the actors. I'm having a conversation with her. I never disrespect that relationship. But it really is like a beautiful black, like, swirling of ideas and trying to get the best thing and getting as many takes as we need until we feel like we have enough options for the edit.
Another occupational question. How does the next Lena Waithe become the next Lena Waithe? Does this, like, education-wise, experience-wise, what can you give as far as like letting somebody look through the window of what this process looks like and how they can step into this space? Yeah,
I mean, I think the word, and I'm curious what you think about this. The word I can think of is obsession. Like, I'm so obsessed with almost like everything. Like, I'm obsessed with dialogue. I'm obsessed with the musicality of language and words. I'm obsessed with inflection. That's a big thing for me. It's like, where do you put that and what word are you putting it on? It really is like music to me.
Right.
Like, a big thing that a famed television director, James Burrows, who's directed everything from The Mary Tyler Moore Show to Friends to every episode of Will and Grace. Like, he's a phenomenal television director. I found out, again, this is me being obsessed and listening to interviews and listening to director commentaries and things like that. He sometimes, during rehearsal for actors, he turns his back to the actors. Just listens. And listens to the rhythm, listens to the pacing, listens to where a joke lands. And that was the thing I started doing, where I would have my context in, just close my eyes and listen for the spaces in between the words. And sometimes I'll say, take the air out of that scene, like, do it uncomfortably fast, or let the scene breathe, like, take a beat in between that moment or that moment. Like, so even though I'm not a director, I do not think of myself as one, I am an operatic writer, in that I need the words to feel and sound a certain way to evoke a certain type of emotion. Right. So that's really and again, the only word I can think about is obsession. Like, I would, like, literally sit with, like, Sex and the City and listen to Michael Patrick King commentary, you know, about, like, why he made a certain decision, why he did certain things. So he would talk to me about, like, story arcs and, like, how there's a rule of three, like, okay, this happens, and then this thing resolves it. Like, I'm always listening and learning. So that's another big thing too, is it's about craft. Right. And here's the thing, most people of color can't afford to study the craft. So there's a lot of, again, the playing field isn't leveled. So if you're a person of color, if you're us, you have to be Jordan. You know, you have to be phenomenal. You know what I mean? So, which is fine. Right. But what if you're not yet? What if you want to learn? And that's why a big thing we're doing with the Hillman Grad Mentorship Program is I've sort of said, like, okay, I want to start funding people to go to writing classes, funding people to go to acting classes, putting my money where my soul is, in terms of, I say I want people to be able to do the thing, I have to teach them. Right. I have to teach them. Because craft is the one thing they can never take away from me. They can't take it away. No. You know, I know how to write. I know how to do that, but I'm also still mastering that craft. Right. You know, it's interesting. It's like, I'm very grateful that people really are responding to the film, but as good as Queen and Slim is, it should not be my best. That is only the beginning. That should be the tip of the iceberg. I should be getting better. I should never rest on my laurels. You know what I'm saying? It was like, to me, when people were like, what are you gonna do after the Emmy? I'm like, I'm going to work that much more harder. Because you gotta keep up. Yeah.
You don't just get the bag, you secure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You securing the bags. You securing Reebok bags.
Yeah. I do my best.
Yeah. Yeah. You secure Reebok.
let's-
I secure the AT&T bag. We get it.
Let's
I love it. I love us being aligned with these companies, man. They want us.
you know, and our lives have changed, you know, so there is a, you know, throughout all of the bullshit that goes into getting to where you are, there is a reward at the end of it. So, you know, if you are listening in the intent of being here one day, just know that you have to trust your struggle and trust your process.
That's right. But also know heavy is the head that wears the crown.
For sure. The crown is always the target.
Yeah, a king has no friends, only followers and foes.
Yeah, shit, I'm learning that.
You can text me, man.
I want to get into another clip. So can we roll another clip from the film, please?
I don't even know what clip this is.
Yeah, we're about to find out together.
I wrote that scene so many times.
Really?
So many times, so many iterations.
What would you say is like?
Of it.
What was the biggest difference from when it started to where it ended up?
There was. Well, you guys have seen the trailer. I don't think this is giving anything away, but there was one point where she killed the police officer. Then I decided to switch it. I was like, because they had to always keep them balanced, had to always keep them equal. So then I said, no, I think he should do that in her honor. The fact that he sees the cop like try to injure her, and instinctively he lunges. But it's still almost accidental that the gun drops, and then he kills him, and then she makes the decision. She's like, let's go. You know, so it was like, it's equal. He kills the cop, she's like, let's go. It was like, how can I keep them
balanced?
Yeah, keep them balanced.
Yeah.
Like, he will not be emasculated, she will not be dominated.
Yeah. You do a lot of, there's so many things. I remember when the first premiere, somebody asked you a question. I can't say what the question was because it would be a spoiler, but there's so much of what you wrote was so deliberate, and it was like so many rewrites of like, you know, in a very deliberate form, and it was specifically like from your experience. I remember one thing that you said when you were like, every time you've been betrayed, it's been somebody that looks like you, and that sticks out so much. But like, it just.
Well, it was more about what hurts more when you're betrayed by a white person or one of your own.
When your own.
It hurts more when it's one of us.
Yeah. You know, it's just I know Lena, so I just want you to know how deliberate and how like how genius she is. I think it's one of those things where we're gonna even me. There's some parts that I'm still gonna have to argue with you about later, but like
Fair enough.
there's I just can't like I can't say enough how like genius your thought process, and like how you've made me a better artist.
Ooh,
just like
I feel the same way about you. You tell
you.
stories, you do. You
I
tell
try.
stories through clothes.
I try.
You put us on our backs.
I do what I can.
You do.
But you know what? It's not about me.
Well, I'm like, you're great, man. You're killing it. He's like, no, you're killing it again.
So we're gonna get to questions from the audience in a little bit, but I wanted to just talk to you about like just the casting and like the actors. Besides Daniel, we talked about Daniel.
Yeah.
But Jody.
Jody Turner-Smith.
Jody's been doing her thing for a while, and Jody's just like literally.
I think you were familiar with her. She apparently had popped up in a couple of music videos that Melina had done. I think Melina had seen her before. She was a fresh face to me. She was new to me. And, you know, the minute we realized, okay, me and Melina were like on board, like, okay, Daniel's gonna be our Slim. Okay, got it, interesting. So we have this familiar face, this beautiful brown-skinned man. But then as we were going around to these different studios, as they were all like just rolling out the red carpet, like, what do you want? And I was like, I want Final Cut, and we want to break a new actress, and she has to be brown-skinned. And they were like, okay.
The way that black people were lit in the movie is a character in itself. You know, like
Come on.
lighting black people. I don't know if you know this, but in film is like very, very hard to do.
Yeah.
But
And on film too.
yeah,
Like, you can't fuck that up.
Yeah.
And
This was shot on film.
it was shot on film.
Yeah, not digital.
Of course, because it's Melina.
Of course.
So,
She went the expensive route.
yes,
She was
of
like,
course. You got a camera reload.
Yeah.
But yeah, and she was in our first batch of actresses that Carmen Cuba sent us. And that's what me and Melina were like, what? Because of course it was love at first tape. I mean, we looked at her tape and we were just like, whoa.
Carmen is an OG.
Carmen is like
Carmen's
the
an OG.
shit.
I actually didn't realize Carmen casted this.
Yeah, Carmen
I don't know if
Cuba is a phenomenal casting director. She is an Emmy-winning casting director.
Yes.
She cast Stranger Things. She cast The Shy.
Atlanta?
She cast Atlanta.
Atlanta, Guava
yeah, she works
Island.
with Donald a lot.
Yeah.
Donald and I kind of play hacky sack with her. Like Donald's like, yo, I need her to cast this thing. He's like, I need her to cast this thing I'm doing. I'm like, so, but she's the best. And so Jody, you know, she came in and we auditioned her in person because we were like, let's see what this is. And it was stunning. And we were just like, fuck, are we crazy? Is there anyone that can hold a candle to her? And we weren't finding them. And then finally the day came for her to do a chemistry read with Daniel. And I remember me and Melina both like saying a prayer before she walked in because we were like, if this doesn't work, I don't know what the fuck we're gonna do. And there's this beautiful thing that happened when because, you know, Daniel's in there with us. And also, too, that had to be really tough. It's like, I think also because I am aware that, like, if I'm casting something, it's, like, not a secret. It's, like, a fucking story. And it became a story because Daniel was attached. So it was, like, Daniel Kaluuya, Lena Waithe's first feature, Melina Matsuka's directing, looking for a brown-skinned black woman to come play Queen. And it was just, like,
DMs was off the hook.
nuts. Like, very well-known actresses would text us and saying, hey, you know, me and Melina would try to figure out eloquent ways to say, that's so flattering and thank you so much, but we really want to give someone else an opportunity.
Right.
And people were cool. They were cool about it. But, you know, names I won't say, very well known, you know, it was very flattering. But yeah, she came into the room and Daniel shrank. And the thing was, it was not because she made him feel small, but because he knew he was in the presence of royalty. And that's when we knew.
She got 100% queen energy.
Queen, she's a
I
queen.
want one more question before we go into
Go for it.
the audience questions. How do you think this generation of Black Hollywood is going to be remembered and spoken about?
I think about that a lot. I think about our generation. I mean, we are all this the Renaissance. I feel like we're a part of it. Fashion, writing, you know, ghetto gastro, what they're doing with food. Yeah, ghetto gastro is amazing. And then obviously the music. I mean, BJ the Chicago Kid. You know, like Lauren.
Dev Hines did the music.
Dev Hines that scores the film, aka Blood Orange. I mean, I feel like we're all we're doing our thing. We're contributing to
But how do you think we'll be remembered?
Country, yeah, that doesn't necessarily contribute to us. I think we'll be remembered as a rambunctious group, you know. You know,
say the least.
You know what I mean? Unafraid, and not polite. We weren't polite about it. Yeah, that's what I think about us. Like we don't give a fuck, man.
Yeah. This chapter of Black history is called Not Polite.
Not polite.
All right, so let me give you some
let's do
questions
it.
from the audience. Do you feel the theme of retribution in Queen and Slim mirrors in some way the thread of retribution found in blaxploitation films of the 1920s and the idea of the outlaw?
Okay, that's a deep question. I'm gonna try to keep. I'm gonna try to keep my answers short and sweet so I can get to as many as I possibly can. And I do have another event after this, so they're gonna come yank me at some point. Here's the interesting thing. I actually have it in the action lines in the script that there's a point where they have to change their look, obviously, because they're on tape and they don't want to get caught. And you know this, where they also switch cars. They get into a lowrider, a turquoise Catalina. And they kind of have to wear the clothes of Uncle Earl and his girl because they don't have any other choice. And they literally go from civilians to a black exploitation film. Literally, that's sort of where it kind of flips. And it's the beginning of their evolution. They start to become more of themselves. Like my North Star for her was Malcolm X. My North Star for him was MLK. And by the end of the film, they swap places. So Yes, I'll say. Like, I was very much inspired by those themes in Black exploitation films. But the interesting thing about Black exploitation films, they were made by white people. Like, they were written by white people. They were often directed by white people. So again, our bodies were being used to make money. And so there's a big theme too about this country making money off of Black bodies. The plantation just looks different. Plantation looks like a football field, looks like a TV set, looks like a...
All right, sore subjects. Shout out to my man Cap.
Hey. Still with him.
Shout out to Chris Paul.
Hey.
Really good dudes working behind the scenes doing their thing. A few months ago, a Black teen was held at gunpoint in a New York City subway. I know which incident they're referring to. What do you hope your film expresses to that young man if you were to see it? So there was so in New York City we've been having this issue with people hopping the turnstile.
Right. I was reading about that.
$2.50. You hop the turnstile. A lot of people living below the poverty line can't afford this shit. And the cops are entrapping them and fucking them up. And it's been happening since I was in high school. Wow. Like I actually got jammed up like that. I got arrested in the train station one time. So this kid was held at gunpoint though. They got on the train, held him at gunpoint. So this is what they're referring to, just so you don't have the backstory. So what do you hope your film expresses to that young man if you were to see it?
I hope this movie makes him feel seen. You know what I mean? Like I see him, there's an interesting thing in that we live in a country where Black people are constantly policed. And we're constantly being made to feel like second-class citizens. And it's a very weird thing because this country doesn't exist without us. Our ancestors built it, for free.
Yeah. And
we have a right to walk on the land like everyone else. And there's this desire to make us disappear.
Right. This is how we're the most important and the least important at the same time, right? Yeah. Next question. How do you balance digging up vulnerability in your work with being critical with revisions, cuts, form, and the business of it all?
Yeah, I think that's probably the most difficult part about being what I would call a working artist, because it's like you can be an artist all day, but the minute money gets introduced, then that's the thing that happens with, it's like we're paid by corporations and companies and things like that. But I think the big thing for me has been to demand autonomy and to be good enough that I can get it.
Yeah.
So I think that has been my thing. It's like, how great can I be?
Right.
So I can tell these people to leave me the fuck alone.
Ooh. I love that.
But at the same time, I take notes from my artistic community. Like Bradford Young gave me a thought that changed something in the film. Daniel Kaluuya, the conversations I had with him. Melina Matsukas, Justin Simeon, who read drafts of it and would give me thoughts, who created Dear White People. And Issa saw a very early cut of the film and they gave us her thoughts. So we have a community that I can be open to. And also too, it's like, look, if I feel steadfast about something, I have to ask myself if I feel steadfast about it. Right. Why do I want this here? Or is it me trying to feel myself? And to me, the difference between a good artist and a great one is someone who can tell the difference.
Right.
It takes time to be able to tell the difference.
I love the creative control clause. I have one of those in every single one of my contracts.
I'm gonna get one in there.
We don't play those games around here.
Yeah.
Somebody's talking to both of us here. Seeing as you both don't code switch, can you talk about how someone who...
Okay, come on. 'Cause I'm excited. Let me see.
I think that says might not. I'm not sure what that word is. Let's just try that one.
Let's see if you can. Wait. Assimilate.
No, not assimilate. This word right here, I can't. The handwriting.
Who does not?
Oh, does. Okay, I thought that said dogs.
Oh my God.
I thought it said dogs. My bad. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
Someone who does not have a platform and can get into spaces and not assimilate. Here's the deal. I think, and I can't speak for you. It took me a beat to stop code switching. I had to get to a certain level of success.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I code switch.
You used to probably do something.
I code switch
the
to
fashion
go.
world is like.
Yeah, I code switch to go on that side to check them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you code switch with that op-ed you did.
Yeah, which you lovingly
He sent it to me to
proofread for me, and but you know, it's like I gotta show you that I gotta show you that I can speak the Queen's English.
Yes, you can.
But I'm gonna bring you back down here to Flatbush with me
Yes.
afterwards, though. Like, you know what I mean? You know, I think one of my biggest inspirations, as far as like to answer that question further, but like one of my biggest inspirations to stay true to myself. One of the most jarring things that I saw is when Ryan Coogler was giving interviews and he had the same ass Bay Area accent, and I've always been been self-conscious about the fact that I have this Brooklyn accent, and I was like, shit, after I seen him do it, I was like, oh, I'll never have to do this again. I never have to speak that way.
Right. And the interesting thing is, like, white people love it. They love when we speak in our native tongue to them.
Yeah. It's like tourism.
Let in.
Yeah. It's like tourism.
They're like, I'm sorry, what? Oh.
All right, so here's another question. Do you receive more fulfillment from the process or the product? That's a great question, actually.
Both are different energies, you know. I love writing a lot. I do. I like it. I like the process. It can be tough and it can be long and it's a fucking Rubik's Cube sometimes. But I like the doing. I like the finding. I like the discoveries. I love writing a good line. I know when I write it, I'm like, yep, there it is.
When you're writing scripts, are you mouthing every character to yourself?
I say it out loud. If I can't say it, I can't expect the actor to.
Right.
So I'm a big person on dialogue, and I'm almost like a student of dialect. And also too, most writers, when we're talking to someone, we're really listening to them, listening how they bend their R's, how they wrap their mouths around vowels, all that kind of stuff. Because then I can sort of like say, okay, that's an interesting way of saying that. I might want to take that, lift it, make a mental note, put that into a character's mouth later. There's also an interesting thing too that I found, really trying to define what Black broken English sounds like. And the thing I discovered in that, like, we have a word that we do, like, gone. Like, how you gonna outrun the police? What you gonna do when you leave here? Like, gone.
It's called copula deletion. Over time, words and phrases become shorter and shorter because of the use, and it's not. But we're taught to be ashamed of it, but it's actually just the way that language should just progress.
Yeah, it's how it evolves, and that is the thing I found in writing dialogue, and that just comes from years and years and years of just listening to Black people talk. It is a musicality to it. And so I try to write it exactly as is, especially this season on The Shy. I've been doing a lot of passes on scripts. I'm writing it exactly. And I'm like, if you say it exactly as it's written, I'll make you look like Meryl Streep.
Perfect. Top line, love for Lena.
Oh, okay. Love that.
Will your next project, whether it be a TV show or a movie, be devoted to the LGBTQ community? The world is ready for inclusion of our people.
Oh yeah, 20s is coming, February, BET. It's the first, which I didn't even realize this, but I'm grateful to break this glass ceiling, but when 20s airs on BET in February, it'll be the first time in history that a queer Black woman will be the protagonist of a primetime television show.
No, that's amazing.
It's loosely based on my 20s. Loosely based on my 20s, the lead actress is actually queer, which is dope. I couldn't ask her that during the audition process, but I caught a vibe. And she has a haircut just like mine. And they're so funny, like the Lena uniform is a vintage tee, sweatpants, and sneakers. It's so funny to see
Literally
her
when you texted me earlier when I said, what are you wearing?
You did. I said a vintage tee and a suit.
Yeah.
And your shoes.
Yeah. Can't go wrong.
Nope. Look at us, like twins. I didn't say blue.
No, you didn't say blue, but I felt it.
Okay. Blue is the warmest color.
After watching the film last night, after watching the film last night, I found that certain parts gave me the feeling of rage, confusion, and shock. Like Spike's Do the Right Thing and Singleton's Boys in the Hood.
Wow.
Were those films on your mind as you wrote the movie?
Fuck. Damn. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know who said that, but thank you very much.
His name is Alan.
Alan.
From East New York, Brooklyn.
Yeah. Thank you, Alan. Those are two like pillars.
Yeah.
Cinema, not just black cinema. Here's the interesting thing. Those movies are, you know, ingrained into my body. You know, like I remember I watched, again, this speaks to my obsession and nerdom. I watched Do the Right Thing every day for a whole summer, one summer. It's weird, man. I couldn't fucking.
But it's one of those movies.
It's like I'm
air.
a nut. Like I just fucking. That's why again it's featured in fucking the Thanksgiving episode, which is one of my greatest accomplishments that we got to use that, which ultimately happened to be the scene of Radio Raheem being killed by the police. But Melina also was a lover too, so we both were like, what are they watching on Thanksgiving? They Do the Right Thing, and then we got the permission, and we were very grateful. But Do the Right Thing is like, you know, it is a Bible almost, and Boys in the Hood is like the New Testament, you know. But to me, the thing that really fucked me up, that probably is more of an influence on this, is Menace to Society.
I was just about to say that. That's my favorite movie.
That's mine
That's my
too.
favorite movie, yeah.
Because it was almost like, and again, you see the evolution of artists. Like you have Do the Right Thing, which inspires John Singleton.
Yeah.
And then Boys in the Hood inspires the Hughes brothers to go make Menace to Society. Every single movie becomes more and more visceral, more and more almost violent in a way, but almost more outspoken, and again, not polite.
Yeah.
And Menace to Society is a film that just spoke on a more guttural level, and they weren't afraid to kill their protagonist, which was also kind of freaky.
Right.
You know, but also to me, it's almost like Trey is who you want to be. Kane is probably who you were. Like, you ain't getting out the car. I'm killing the motherfucker that popped my cousin.
Right.
But Trey got furious at home. That's like, I'm not gonna lose my son to no bullshit. You get out the car, you come home, let Doughboy handle that. You know, and so it was interesting in that, like, you know, Singleton was sort of like doing the sort of Shakespearean thing, you know, where the son does right. You know, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character is a good boy. Kane is not.
Right.
You know, but Old Dog is worse than him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was almost like these different levels to it. But I study those films, so thank you. That's a huge compliment.
Hughes brothers really killed it, especially with Dead Presidents. I thought that was.
Dead Presidents is crazy, yeah.
It's kind of like my arc for everything too.
Yeah.
One more question. So do those days when you have the words but you can't seem to put them on paper? On those days where you have the words but you can't seem to put them on paper, how do you wrestle them onto a page?
I don't wrestle them. If they're not ready to come, I don't force it. You know, that's when I go kick it with my lady. You know, it's like
Shout out to Alana.
Alana Mayo, who's in Germany right now. She runs Michael B. Jordan's production company, and they're in Germany making a movie, kicking it in Berlin. It's like newlywed, don't, it's like get married. I do, okay, you're gonna, okay, bye.
I do get on the plane.
I know, I know, and I have to come here, so it goes. But you know, I think, hold on, what was I saying? I lost my track of thought. My wife has a.
So yeah, how do you wrestle them on the page? We were talking about that.
Yeah, I don't. I go and walk around. I watch Menace Society. I go listen to Anita Baker. I clean up. I you know, maybe go shopping. Like, you know, or go kick it with friends or smoke some weed. I don't know. I just
or something Whitney Houston related.
Whitney Houston. You know, the documentary is always on in the background. I always try to turn it off like right when it turns bad. You know, I don't want to get too depressed. It's like, oh, nope, uh-oh, after Preacher's Wife, turn it off. It's like, nope. But, you know, I spend some time with myself and you know, try to listen to God, listen to my inner spirit. Like, don't force it, you know, and you know, but then also don't become complacent in it and the not creating. But I think the biggest thing, and you know, I think as artists, we have to stay inspired.
Right.
So I think and also too, I think our lives can be inspiring. You know, sometimes I'm always learning and listening. Like the coolest thing was I got to witness you go to the Met for the first time.
Yeah.
Because you know what I'm saying, like, and that was only my second time, but it was a unique experience. We were like taking things in, like we were like goofing around. We were in that space.
We were definitely like the bad kids at the Met.
Yeah. Well, what do you expect? I mean, but
I mean, we showed up bad. We had messages on the back of our jackets. We showed up.
it was crazy. But it was like, you know, that's inspired. That like, you know, there are things, there are characters in that room. There's stuff happening. You know, it's like Frank Ocean taking our picture with his like
With his little disposable
disposable camera. Like those moments to me are things that we're gonna remember for the rest of our lives, that we're gonna take and that are gonna find their way into our work. But also so will loss, so will trauma, so will us breaking up with someone or us losing a friend or being betrayed. Like it's the mix, and that's the thing is like as our lives evolve, our work evolves. And it's interesting because Alana said this to me, I think just before we got married or just after we did. She said, I look forward to the movie you write about marriage. She said, I'm curious to see that through your lens, you know, or what you'll write about when you become a parent or how that will affect your creativity. And it's interesting because I hadn't thought about that. I was so focused on who I am now. And she already knows how much, you know, just how much I've grown up since getting married. And this is a couple months ago in terms of how I've already matured and stood up a little bit straighter and walked through the world a little bit freer.
Ooh, that's crazy. Because, you know, most people think that marriage is some sort of prison.
It's actually, oh no, I said the ring gives me wings. Real shit. I said that to you.
Yeah.
You know, whenever you're ready.
Working
whenever
on it,
you're
working
ready.
I just got the money.
I know. Please, you got a ways. You got a ways to go.
I got a little ways.
You got a ways to go, based on our text messages. But yeah, you know, it's my life is an inspiration. The world is a stage. Everyone is a character. You know, that's why also frustrates my wife. I think because everything she says, I'm like, oh, I like that's interesting. She's like, Jesus fucking really. But it's true. She, you know, she's a muse. You know, I was your muse. You know what I mean? Like we're each other's greatest inspiration. You shouldn't have to look very far. Life is quite entertaining.
Man.
You pay attention.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for being here with us. We're honored to be here. Thank you.